The Ashes of Today Are the Sparks of Tomorrow by XX Misery Smiles XX. Read by Kaiinbed. Chapter 41. The Final Chapter. From there on, the rest of the day went fairly smoothly. There was only one slight delay, which involved Uraraka chasing around Todoroki with what looked to be a tea kettle from the china set Haruka had gifted them, yelling something incomprehensible while Shoto threw various objects at her. One ice-covered chair, half-melted doorknob, floating table, and exploded tea kettle later, Izuku managed to get everyone to stop fighting. Hawks finally saw why Shoto liked them so much. He wasn't that much of a standout kid, but he gave off a distinctive aura of when Hawks' mom had been disappointed in him, which was always. "Kachan, apologize to Hawk-san and Dabi-san for destroying their tea kettle," the green-haired boy demanded, and Bakugo snarled. "I'm not apologizing for shit. Apologies are for weak losers." Izuku put his hands on his hips, raising an unimpressed eyebrow, and holding steady emerald eyes. Bakugo huffed, crossing his arms, and turning away with hunched shoulders. "I'm sorry your damn tea kettle was too weak to handle my power or whatever." "All good, Sir Lord Nuclear Manslaughter," Hawks said, trying not to laugh, while Izuku took Eri from Tomura's arms to coax her into rewinding the kettle. Dabi burst out laughing, shaking his head, while Bakugo stared, looking offended. The rest went smoothly. They finished up just before dinner, boxes mostly carried up and opened, if not fully organized or unpacked. "Who wants to drive us back?" Izuku asked, and a few hands shot up. "I can do it," Tomura rasped, pushing forward. "I need more time to get my license." "Are you fucking serious? You shitty walking hand kink? You aren't even wearing shoes," Bakugo barked out, sneering, and Izuku made an indignant noise. "Language, Kachan! Eri is here."
"It's okay,"
Eri chirped, pensive.
"Tomura already taught me how to swear."
She looked up, gaze challenging.
"So don't be a pussy."
Izuku made a choking noise, then turned on Tomura, who waved her hands defensively. "Dad Aizawa does it all the goddamn time. It's not my fault." "Damn nerds," Bakugo growled, shoving past to slip into the driver's seat, while Shoto seemed to be hiding a smirk behind their hand. Meanwhile, Hawks was still staring at Tomura oddly. "Tomura, why don't you wear shoes? You didn't wear them when we were out drinking either." Tomura flushed cherry red, glaring. "I don't know. Why don't you?" I have bird feet," Hawks said, staring at her blankly. Tomura seemed to get even redder, turning away. "Right, of course you do. Fucking heteromorphs." After a long moment of sulking, she finally responded with something of a genuine answer. "It's... You know how when you get all panicked or shit and you feel like nothing's real? Well, I have that. For most people, they can just put their hand against the wall to ground themselves. But I can't do that for obvious reasons." She glanced down at her glossy black toenails, scowling. "So, being able to feel the ground is like my thing or whatever. It keeps my head from getting more fucked up than it already is. So, yeah, that's the item description for my non-existent shoes. Can we go now?" "Of course," Izuku said, stepping up and offering out a hand, which Tomura let him rest on her arm. "That sounds rough, Mora. I'm sorry." He bit his lip. "You can write it in your stupid notebook," Tomura snapped, rolling her eyes, and Izuku nodded, letting out a relieved sigh, and fumbling for a notebook out of his bag. "Thanks. Sorry, I just... Do your autistic bullshit, you little green freak," Tomura interrupted, turning away and slinking into the back seat with crossed arms. Bakugo, who had his license already, ended up driving, forcing Shoto into the trunk so he didn't have to look at their ugly face. Izuku joined them, still scribbling in his journal, and Hawks took the seat next to Tomura, Eri in the middle, and Dabi in the passenger so he didn't throw up again. "Uraraka handles her motion sickness better than you, and she's 17, Shoto informed as they got in. "Do better." They then ducked as an empty coffee cup was aimed at their head, missing and instead whacking Tomura in the face. "You stupid glitched out fuckface!" she shrieked, eyes flaring. "I'll turn you into fucking dust!" Dabi just flipped her off, sticking his tongue out, while Eri shook her head in exasperation.
"Stop fighting, you problem children.
Midoriya and Hawks both collapsed laughing. They arrived only a few minutes late at Aizawa's place, the door opened by a tall man with wispy blue hair, dark skin, and mismatched yellow and silver eyes that glowed faintly. "Hey, little Cloud," he chirped, holding his arms open for Eri to jump into, scooping her up and twirling her around. Glancing between their similar blue hair and white eyes, Hawks wondered if this was her father. Tomura smiled, walking up to hug him from the side. "How's my favorite kiddo doing?" he asked, looking down. "Spite-filled and hungry," Tomura rasped. The man ruffled her hair, laughing. "Are these the boys? Ah, Dabi, nice to see you again. The white hair suits you better than that dye." The man winked. "And doesn't make such a mess of the sink, I'm hoping." Dabi blinked, furrowing his brow. "Do I know you?" Tomura rolled her eyes. "Giri, stop being cryptic. Dabi, this is Shirakumo, also known as Kurogiri to all you villainous fucks." Hawk stared, gaping. "Holy shit! Dude, you're hot under the fog." Tomura smacked him upside the head. "Don't you fucking hit on my caretaker?" Kurogiri Shirakumo just laughed again. "It's nice to see you again, Hawks. Are you and Dabi finally dating, now that the war is over?" Dabi sputtered, and Hawks felt his face flush. We didn't, he started, and Kurogiri smiled sympathetically. "Sorry, I had assumed you both were aware that I knew of your crushes." God, even fucking Spinner noticed it, and that guy was dumb as a brick when it came to romance. Tomura complained. Hawks hid his face in his wings, remembering some of the embarrassing things he thought about Dabi, and imagining Dabi thinking the same things about him. "Stop being pathetic and just get inside the damn house. I'm hungry." Bakugo roared, ruining the moment. For the best, probably, as Dabi didn't look like he was breathing anymore. Inside, the place was dark, emptier than Hawks had expected for a dinner party. He assumed the rest of the group was in the backyard, as Shirakumo led them through. They passed a large corkboard, which Hawks glanced at, surprised to see a collection of drawings. A surprisingly good markered-in drawing of a girl from an anime Hawks didn't recognize, cross necklace over a gothy black dress, long blonde hair pulled up into eccentric pigtails. Hitoshi was written in the corner, and Hawks made a mental note to ask Shinso about it. Beside it was a more sloppily done coloring page of a cat, Eri's name scribbled in the corner. It was endearing all the same, especially when paired with the third drawing, an edgy, frantic drawing in black ink, a roughly scribbled figure with their mouth open in a scream. In their fist was clutched a shaky sketch of a human heart, held away from black vines. Hands? That clawed to rip it from their grasp. It wasn't signed, but Hawks could easily guess at the artist. Dabi tugged on his wrist, pulling him back along with a flustered apology. "Sorry, just looking." "You're like a hummingbird, you know," Dabi said, sighing. "Always moving so fast, latching onto things before leaving for the next." "I'm a hawk," Hawks observed. "And I'm a disappointment," Dabi said, rolling his eyes. "Are we done pointing out the obvious?" "You aren't a," Hawks started, before jumping nearly a foot in the air as they walked into the living room and were promptly greeted by a scream of "Surprise!" and lights flaring up. Grabbing Dabi and pushing him behind, he flared his wings, reaching back and ripping out one of his primaries on instinct to hold as a sword, forgetting they no longer functioned that way. Letting out a yelp, he fell on one knee, as Dabi crouched beside him in worry. "Keigo, are you alright? Fuck, you're not bleeding, don't worry. It was a pretty clean rip, but..." There was a snort of laughter, and then Rumi was helping him up, grinning her sunny smile. "Hey, idiot." And Hawks looked around, adrenaline settling down as he took in the crowd. Aizawa and Hizashi were there, obviously, and Hitoshi, who was standing with Tokoyami. Wait, Tokoyami? That was his boy, and Dark Shadow too. Hawks let out a happy chirp of excitement at seeing his former intern. Even Ogawa and Haruka had come. Natsu, Fuyumi, and Rei all ran up to hug a flustered-looking Toya, congratulating and fussing over him. Aizawa strode up to Hawks, a soft smirk tugging at his lips. "Sorry about that." We wanted to throw you a celebration since you're out of the hospital. I didn't think the surprise aspect was rational, but I'm not usually the one left in charge of the whole party planning business." He nodded back to Mike, who was excitedly talking to a grinning Eri from within Kurogiri's arms. "That's his area." Hawks laughed while Rumi punched his arm. "Hey, you better be at our wedding next week, got it? And if I don't see Toya in a war criminal t-shirt, I'm going to riot." Hawks groaned, closing his eyes. "Don't encourage him, Rumi. He'll actually do it." "I fucking hope so," his best friend threatened, letting out a cackling laugh. Hitoshi walked up to Tomura, holding out a squirming kaiju, as Hawks weaved back over to join his boyfriend and his family. "Thought you'd want this," he said dryly, and Tomura snatched the dog away, burying her face in his fur. "Kai, look at the beast." "Ah, yes, I know, my comrade. I missed you too, huh?" She peppered the dog's small black nose and fluffy face with kisses, and Natsu let out a longing sigh. "God, I wish that was me." Toya gagged. "Please never say anything like that around me ever again." The house livened up significantly after that. Fuyumi had baked a cake in celebration, and Shoto ended up roasting marshmallows for Eri and the other teens with their left side. Tokiyami and Hawks made a game of seeing how high they could carry people with their wings, and Dabi could only melt with pride as Hawks managed to fly 10 feet into the air with Eri clutched to his chest. Dark Shadow and Eri seemed to have formed an unlikely friendship, with the flustered Tokiyami accepting a black and light blue friendship bracelet made for the big familiar. They even started up a karaoke contest, which present Mike mostly took over, though Rumi, Haruka, Uraraka, Shoto, and Tomura made notable appearances. Toya tramped over to the side, covering his ears in distaste as Tomura took the mic for the second time, belting out a rock ballad from the 2000s in her off-key caterwaul. "Has anyone ever informed you that your roommate is a fucking awful singer?" Natsu laughed, looking over to where Tomura was still belting her heart out in scratchy, craggy tones. "Yup, many times. She doesn't give up, though." He paused, frowning slightly. "Also, she's not my roommate. She's my girlfriend." Dabi scowled, sitting down and crossing his arms. "What do you even see in her?" Natsu blinked, surprised, stealing a glance at his brother. "Muraki? Well," he rubbed the back of his neck, taking a sip of his drink. "A lot of it I can't really put into words. I just look at her and feel it intensely." He bit his lip before continuing. "But from what I can put into words, she's beautiful. Especially now that she's starting to actually get a normal amount of food and taking care of herself. More than that, she's really, really passionate. She doesn't have the time for everyone, but the people she does care about, she takes care of. And she's really grounded. She doesn't romanticize things or use flowery words. When she says something to me, I know she means it. We grew up with so many people lying to us. It's just so nice to have someone I know will tell me how it is. No syrupy sugarcoating." Toya stared for a long moment, taking it all in. Then, begrudgingly, he sighed. I still don't like it." "I'm not looking for your approval," Natsu said evenly, deep gray eyes devoid of humor. I know, Toya said, putting up his hands. "I just wanted to say that I accept it, even if I don't like it. I know you love her, and she seems to treat you all right from what I've seen. So you have my blessing, even if it doesn't mean anything." Natsu snorted softly. "Thanks for your love and support, Toya-ni." "Anytime, gremlin brother," Toya huffed, crossing his arms. Natsu let out a sigh, taking Toya's hand and squeezing it once before dropping it again. I'm so happy you're alive, and here with us. He reached up, wiping at his eye quickly. "A year ago, I thought it would never get better. I mean, my girlfriend had just broken up with me because our family drama was too much. I barely had even started talking to Shoto. Fuyumi spent every second we talked apologizing for Dad, and I thought you were dead. Now I'm living with the most beautiful girl on earth. Fuyumi is getting married, with Dad completely out of the picture. Mom and Sho and I see each other all the time, And my big brother is alive and gonna be there for all of it. He grinned, cheeks wet and eyes shining. God, I'm so happy, Toya. Toya pulled him into a tight hug, laughing despite his own tears. I'm happy too. I've got a family and I feel okay. And I have Kegel. Fuck, I'm dating the #1 hero. And I think that fact just actually hit me. And I'm going to start school this fall. Nuts, I'm gonna have a future. I know, Natsu sobbed, lifting his brother up and squeezing him tight. I'm so fucking happy for you. You deserve this. We both deserve this. Hey! A slurred voice interrupted them. And Toya looked up to see Murako, Tomura, Fuyumi, and Hawks walking up. There you are, you cute idiot. You're coming with me, Tomura announced, grabbing Natsu's arm and dragging him away. We're singing. Natsu shrugged helplessly at the others, before stumbling after his girlfriend with a laugh. Fuyumi took Natsu's place, hugging Toya before stepping back to take Murako's side. We're doing sparklers. Do you want to join? Hawks watched as his love's blue eyes lit up, excitement filling his face. Fuck yes. He turned to Hawks, who grabbed his hands, leaning up to kiss him on the nose. Shoto's lighting them with Bakugo. Oh, and Bakugo brought fireworks, but I think Midoriya hid them, so that might be a bust. Murako laughed, shaking her head. That kid's a riot. I'm officially adopting him. He's my son. No one can stop it. Aww. Uraraka was in front of them, pouting. Izuku and Shoto with her, holding unlit sparklers. I want to be adopted by Murako. Done! Murako shouted, pulling Uraraka into a hug and patting her head. You're all my babies. Izuku, you too. The green boy jumped, eyes wide with confusion and mild terror. What? Why? What'd I do? Fuyumi was giggling, then paused, looking around. Actually, I should probably take this chance to say. She glanced back to Rumi, who had stopped to give her a questioning look. Fuyumi nodded, and Rumi walked over to her fiancé, holding up a sparkler like a torch. Hey everyone, stop what you're doing. We have an announcement. Eyes turned to them, a hush slowly falling over the crowd at Rumi's shouting. Mike sent out a quirk-boosted snap at the few who hadn't gotten the message, until all eyes were fixed on Fuyumi and Rumi. Fuyumi smiled, flushed under the light, and gently set a hand on her stomach. Rumi and I are having a baby. I'm pregnant. Hawks and Dabi already knew, so their reactions were mostly a few congratulations and claps. Across the yard there was a shriek, and then Ray was running over, tears running down her cheeks. Fuyumi, oh my god, are you serious? I'm gonna be a grandma? Oh honey, baby, I'm so proud of you. You're gonna be the most amazing mother ever. Sweetheart, I love you so much. Fuyumi hugged her mom, grinning like the sun. Natsu let out a low whistle, eyes wide. Holy shit, Congratulations, Yumi. I'm really proud of you. Rumi sniffed, trying to hide her wet eyes as she held her future wife's hands tight. We've only known for a few days, but I swear to God I'm gonna take care of your daughter, Todoroki-san, and our little bunny. Just call me Ray, and I know you will, Ray said, wrapping Rumi in her warm embrace. The rest of the family gathered to congratulate Rumi and Fuyumi, and Hawks and Dabi turned back to each other, looking to escape. Shoto handed Hawks and Dabi sparklers as they shied to the edge of the crowd. Keep them away from your wings. These can set fires, Bakugo tried. They cautioned, as Hawks picked one up, then reached up, touching the tip with a lit finger. The black coating exploded in a spark spray, and Hawks held it aloft, letting out a surprised bark of laughter. Holy hell yeah! Dobbs, you seeing this? Sure am, sugar tits. Dabi drawled, watching as his own began to spark and fray from Shoto's touch. Hawks glanced over, caught as he took in Tobi's frame. The sparks lit his face, the angles casting shadows as the planes glowed a soft gold. His hair was paneled in shafts of yellow and ice blue, eyes shining, and Hawks wanted to scream and dance and fly into the sky all at once with how goddamn beautiful his boyfriend was. Dobby let out a breath, his eyes watching not the sparks, but Hawks himself. God, you're so fucking beautiful, he said, and Hawks laughed. Would you believe me if I said I was just thinking the same about you? Not really, Dobby admitted, taking Hawks' hand and pulling him away from the group. But it does sound like something you'd say, you hopeless simp. Only for you, Hawks murmured, bringing Dobby in and kissing him on the lips. Holding his slowly dimming sparkler aloft, Dobby pressed into him, mouth opening to pull him in deeper, hands cupping Hawks' neck. Hawks sighed heavily into the kiss, then broke away, hissing as a sudden burning sensation fell on his skin. Dobby looked down, blinking. What's wrong? One of the sparks fell on my arm, Hawks complained, blinking. Dobby looked down, rubbing a thumb over the spots, and the speck of ash left behind. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, Hawks thought, watching quietly as their fingers laced together, hands interlocked in the space between their beating hearts. In this moment, forehead pressed against the chin of the person he loved more than anything, Hawks wasn't a hawk. In this moment, he was a phoenix, burning to ash time and time again, and rising from the sparks. If Dobby had been the fire that destroyed him the first time, all for one the second, then Toby was the gentle spark that pulled him back to life, and they were one and the same. Dobby, Toby, was both his destroyer and inventor. He was Hawks' end and beginning. And right now, Hawks thought, as he held his wildfire lover close, fireworks popping and bursting above them, he wanted him to be his forever as well. The end. Oh my fucking god! This story was fucking amazing, and I love it so much. I can't. It was so amazing. I'm so happy to have been given the opportunity to podfic it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed as well. I apologize for any background noises and edit mistakes and all that, but I hope you guys enjoyed either way. I definitely enjoyed it, and I absolutely love the way the author did absolutely everything. You have just finished listening to The Ashes of Today Are the Sparks of Tomorrow by XX Misery Smiles XX. If you enjoyed the story, please leave them some feedback on archiveofourown.org/work/53114947. If you enjoyed my reading of the story, you can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Kaiinbed.